Hello, this is the first of the feedback videos on week four's discussions. This first one is about the chapter-based discussions about the Hellenistic world. The first question was about the long-term influence of Alexander the Great. My interest here was less on Alexander himself and his military achievements than what they caused, what they led to in the long term. So basically, I was looking for answers about the spread of Greek culture and the spread of Greek ways of life throughout the Eastern Mediterranean and much of the Middle East. Alexander conquered the whole of the Persian Empire as far as the borders of India, what today are Afghanistan and Pakistan. And Greek culture, therefore, was no longer confined to Greece and its colonies in the Mediterranean, but was spread throughout a much wider region. This brings me to the second question, which was about the impact of Greek culture and non-Greek cultures on one another. Excuse me, I'm a little hesitant because I can't read my own handwriting on my notes. So this goes two ways: Greek influence on other cultures and non-Greek cultures' influence on the Greeks. Well, we see very clearly that there's a process of Hellenization, of things becoming more Greek. The word Hellenistic means Greek-like or Greek-influenced. So we see Greek kings striking coins with their image in a very Greek style with Greek language and Greek gods on them, as far as Bactria, which today is Afghanistan. A dynasty there of kings continue to give themselves Greek names and have Greek imagery on their coins for many centuries. Similar processes happen closer to home, for example, in Egypt. And Greek culture led to establishments such as the Library of Alexandria, again in Egypt, not just a library, but more like a university, a great center for learning and research. So you see these Greek ideals like philosophy and science being spread to non-Greek countries like Egypt. The process worked the other way, of course, the Greeks themselves being influenced by non-Greek culture. For example, in Ptolemaic Egypt, we see Greeks adopting Egyptian customs. One good example of this is the Fayum mummies. Greek colonists in Fayum in Egypt were buried not in the traditional Greek way of having themselves cremated and their ashes kept in urns, but being mummified like Egyptians. So there's some wonderful mummies where it's Egyptian-style mummification, but the artwork on their faces, the face coverings on the mummy itself, are very Greek, very realistic, unlike the more traditional Egyptian style. If I was better at figuring out the video technology, I would put an image in here to show you, but I haven't quite figured that stage out. So bear with me. The third question was about the role of women. To what extent did the Hellenistic age lead to new opportunities for women? Well, in some ways it did. It changes in government and politics from the polis, which was public power, but also male-dominated power, to the more private power of the kingdom, where power was held within the palace, within the domestic sphere. This gave more power to women. Women traditionally had been more influential in the domestic sphere than in the public sphere. Also, some countries had greater rights for women than Greece had had. Egypt, for example, women had been able to own property and divorce their husbands. So Greek women settling in Egypt were able to take advantage of laws which favored women more than they had in the native Greece. On the downside, these changes tended to benefit only aristocratic high-status women, women like Arsinoe, the Queen of Egypt. For most Greek women, life probably would not have changed a great deal in the Hellenistic era.